Hi, I'm Mary Wong, your registered traditional Chinese medicine practitioner and acupuncturist. I'm the founder of Alive Holistic Health, author of Pathways to Pregnancy, and your certified high performance wellness coach. So welcome to my live post number 88. And so in Chinese, that's like a lucky numbers. And I'm really, really happy and grateful that Emma Rohmann is here with us again, because she was with us before. So you'll have to check our old post. But today we're going to talk about basically detoxifying your home, being green at home. And before we go on, I would actually want to introduce you. First of all, hi.
Hello. I'm honored to be on the lucky post number. That's very exciting.
Yeah, it is, right? So let's, share with everybody who you are. So Emma is an environmental engineer, mom of two, founder of Green at Home, and through online programs and consultations, she helps families detox their homes for their health. She also helps health professionals and coaches incorporate environmental health into their practices. She is a David Suzuki Foundation Queen of Green coach and guest lecturer at the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine. And I didn't even know this, but she is doing guest lectures with our very own Dr. Zainab Uraz from the Naturopathic College, who also is our staff naturopathic doctor. So that's so awesome. I had no idea.
Small world.
It is a totally small world. So I guess we'll go straight into it. And the very first thing is,
a lot of people who are going through their fertility struggles or journey look a lot at nutrition, right? And so they're starting to rethink some of their daily diet. And so I thought it would be great to tie in some other things that can be done since you're already in that space and in that headspace. What are some other things you can do while you're cooking or preparing food? I am not a nutritionist, so I'm not going to be talking about the nutrition side of the kitchen aspect. But what I did want to talk about is various environmental exposures that you have control over and that have been shown or are suspected to impact fertility. Specifically, I'm talking about hormone disruptors. And Mary, you mentioned the talk we did before. I think it was episode number 46. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you can go and listen to that. We talked a lot about the science behind hormone disruptors and the details. I'm not going to dive into that again. What I want to go through today is more of the practical strategies that you can take in your kitchen to help reduce your exposure to these hormone disrupting chemicals that can affect fertility, but also your long-term health and the long-term health of any future babies you might be having. So I think there's a few things that we'll get through today. I want to talk about drinking water because that's a big one and something that not everyone necessarily considers. Food, again, not from a nutrition standpoint, but what we're eating and how we're preparing it, and also cleaning products.
Yeah. So let's talk about that drinking water because, we're all drinking water and I always tell people you need to drink lots of water.
Yes.
So, how can that affect our hormones and especially for fertility?
Yeah, so it really depends on where you are. But if you're drinking from a municipal water system, there are a few different contaminants that are present in drinking water that are of concern, especially if you're looking to balance your hormones. Now, you might be thinking, our water, especially in Canada, is super clean and highly regulated. How could this possibly be a problem? And yes, it is true. Our water is safe. However, because we know that hormone disrupting chemicals act in the body at very low concentrations, and these hormone disruptors are present in our water, the limits don't necessarily take into account the low level action. And so they are present in low levels. So yes, it's not toxic in the sense that it will kill you or anything. Our water is still very safe by by any measure. But if you look at water tests in your area, so I'm in Toronto, they publish test reports every year from their various water treatment plants, and you can see the various contaminants or chemicals or substances that are in the water. So I encourage you, if you're outside of Toronto, to look up in your municipality to see what kind of test reports they have. But for Toronto, we do have some heavy metal contaminants like arsenic and lead, and heavy metals are, common toxics that people probably think of, but they're also hormone disruptors. So we've got heavy metals. We also have pesticide residue, and pesticides, depending on what the chemical is, are also hormone disrupting chemicals, and the ones specifically found in Toronto water have been shown to act on our hormones. The other thing is some environmentally pervasive contaminants like perchlorate. It's just everywhere in our soil, in our water. That doesn't get fully removed from our water treatment system. So filtering your water a step beyond what is coming into your household, I think, is a really great step that you can take in your kitchen to make sure that all of the water you're drinking isn't contributing more to your body burden.
So then how about, just the regular Brita filter, which is like a charcoal filter? Is that enough to get rid of some of the, heavy metals?
The pitcher type filters, typically not. So they use an activated carbon filter. Yeah. And what you want to do is look for a third-party certification. So a lot of those Brita or counter, like the pitcher type, are going to be NSF certified. But just probably number 42, I think, is the standard number. And that's really just to treat for odor, taste, and color. And so it'll get some of the chlorine smell out. It'll make it taste better, but it's not going to the level of removing a lot of those extra pollutants. So you want to be looking for certifications, that NSF certification that goes above and beyond. There are several different numbers, so you just want to be looking at what the products are rated for. Activated carbon under counter systems are, or whole home, if you have the budget for it, are typically going to be the kind of minimum that you're going to want to go for. You can also get reverse osmosis systems, which can get out more contaminants, including fluoride and some additional pesticides. RO systems have concern because they remove minerals from the water. So if you are going for an RO system, you want to make sure that you're getting one with a remineralizer.
And so out of those, that three that you mentioned, is there one that you would steer towards for someone with fertility? But there's also a budget thing, right? So is it going to, so
I think it depends. It depends on budget, and it depends on space as well in terms of what you're going to install. RO systems have a much bigger tank underneath. They do waste water in their processing, so there are a few different pros and cons to weigh. I would say at a bare minimum, you're going to want to look at an activated carbon system that is certified to be removing heavy metals, pesticides at least, and looking for that NSF certification. And then if you want to go the RO route, or I think there are some activated carbon systems that have an add-on for removing fluoride, but the activated carbon in and of itself isn't enough to remove the fluoride. So you might want to look at fluoride removal because a few different things, but it's been shown to compete with iodine in the body, which is important prenatally, I know too. So,
right, and it will impact people with thyroid issues.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
or contribute to thyroid issues, which is such an important thing when it comes to fertility.
Yes,
yeah, that's a good point. So, I know I'm not wanting to align with a certain brand, but we identify with brands. So, is there something that you would actually have people look at specifically?
There are so many, and it really depends on where you are. And again, on what kind of retailers are near you and who's going to be installing it and whatnot. So, there's a online store based out of Toronto that has a few good brands called gtawater.com. But I think it's partially local. Like it depends on where you are. And I would start with understanding what is in your water first,
Right.
so that then you can decide what you need to be removing. Because if you're not on a municipal system, if you're on a well water, for example, you're going to be looking at a very different contaminant load than if you're in Toronto or if you're in, a different city altogether.
Right. Well, a long time ago, I did another post, and it was with regards to actually testing the water in your tap, because of course, also within the home, like different piping systems, there may be more added contamination that way as well, right? So I think it's a good idea to test those. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the post number, but you should check that out. Somewhere below life under the videos, you just scroll through, and I did talk about something like that, and you just literally take a sample from your municipal, and again, like it's a government program, so I'm sure in all jurisdictions you can have that, and typically it's free to test them.
Yeah, Toronto has a free lead test kit specifically because a lot of our distribution pipes are still lead.
Yes.
So that's a free one in Toronto, I know.
Okay, great. So that's water. And then how about in terms of the better food option thing? And, I've done posts on that as well, but I would love to hear your take on it. Do we really have to do like every single thing, all organic, like that?
Yeah, I know that can kind of make some people go into a panic because, it is expensive to eat organic. And I touched on this a little bit in our first post, but I wanted to go into some more details. So the first thing I would say is looking at what your food is stored in. So if you are eating a lot of prepared foods or canned foods, you might want to look at some alternatives there. Fast food, packaging liners, as well as can liners, typically contain hormone disrupting chemicals. So cans are often lined with BPA, which has been found to leach into the food within the cans and is a known hormone disruptor. BPA-free cans are often replaced with BPS. BPA-free anything actually is a bit of a challenging label these days because manufacturers have typically replaced it with BPS, which shows the same hormone disrupting properties as BPA.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So but because people aren't as familiar with BPS, they can still say BPA free, and we think that we're okay. So I would suggest reducing your canned goods as much as possible, or choosing a natural brand that uses a completely BPA, BPS free liner. These would be found in health food stores or natural section of your grocery store. Eden Foods is one that you can look for. Tomatoes in particular, you're going to want to look for tomatoes in glass jars.
Yes, and I started doing that, and it's like, wow, they're actually quite readily available. It's like, wow, why weren't we doing that before, right? But it's like at every grocery store, so it's totally easy to convert and do your tomato sauces through glass, like easy, and they'll still be convenient. You don't have to freak out, and it's not much more. I don't believe. I didn't actually do like total price checking, but do you know offhand?
No, I don't know.
But either way, guys, here's the truth, all right? And I write this in my book. It wasn't that long ago, like 1940s or something, where people are spending at least 40% of their income on food. And here we are, like, check your budget plan. How much are you spending on food? I feel that we're spending way more on technology and all those frilly things that does nothing for our health. And we want to spend less money on our food, right?
Yeah.
So make more sense to put something into our bodies that we'll agree with and have us healthy and live longer lives and perhaps have healthier babies and help us have babies, first of all, right? So it just makes more sense. So,
Yeah, no, it's such a good point.
yeah, so instead of just focusing on, oh gosh, like it's so expensive, just look at more of, what are you committed to? What is your purpose in life? And align with that. Is this technology, is it the end all be all? I don't know about that. Like it gets us somewhere, but in a lot of ways, it gave me grief today, that's for sure. And that's why, unfortunately, guys, the quality of my video today sucks because my computer just went, so here we are, but we're doing it, and I wasn't going to stop the show. Okay, so
yeah, you can still shop on a budget too, like more whole foods, and meat is another topic that I wanted to discuss. And I know that meat is often recommended for fertility for some of the nutrients that it possesses, but it is also one of the more expensive components of your bill. So, follow the advice of your healthcare practitioner in terms of how much meat you should be consuming. But when you are buying meat, this is something that you definitely want to be making sure is grass-fed, organic, as much as possible, especially your red meats. So because of the bioaccumulation, so what we are eating, pretty much what the animals ate, right? Oh, did you lose me?
Yeah, we just lost you for a second. So repeat the last sentence, perhaps.
So we are eating pretty much what the animals were eating. And so organic livestock have been fed organic food, and they are less likely to be contaminated with those pesticides that I mentioned earlier in the water. So organic is an important one for meat, wherever possible. With produce, you can use the Dirty Dozen. I think we've probably talked about this before, but the Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen list they publish every year. You can use that to help prioritize organic, focus on the top kind of 12 dirty items of organic. And then if the other ones aren't in your budget or you can't find organic, then you don't need to worry about it because the bottom 12 have either no or very little pesticides on them. So that's a good little hack to try to reduce your grocery shopping stress.
Yeah. Well, okay. So then here's another question for you then. When you have, let's say, oh gosh, like, you have to have something in a recipe and the only one that looks good is actually not organic, right? Because sometimes you'd see that. You go in the grocery store, the organic looks like it's, moldy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not going to pick that up. So you're going to pick up the non-organic one. So is there such a thing as a wash that helps or no? Or does that do nothing?
The Environmental Working Group study, the way that they categorize the produce is they treat the food as it would be treated before you eat it. So all of the stuff is pre-washed before they do their testing if you would normally wash the fruit or vegetable. So you can take it a step further and wash it with a soap-based product like those you can purchase, fruit and veggie washes. Some people soak them in vinegar. I've never tried that. Apparently it doesn't transfer the taste. So yeah, definitely, regardless of it, whether it's organic or not, you should definitely be washing your produce. But the other thing is, like, if you're using a non-organic item that is in the Dirty Dozen list, if you're using it in a recipe here or there, like, don't stress about it. It's not like the pesticides are on the food in this really super thick coating, right? It's residues. And so it's just adding to your toolkit of ways that you can reduce your exposure so that your body has less that it's being introduced to, and it can cope with what you are putting into it a lot better. It's not about 100% eliminating all sources of hormone disruptors, but just taking steps where you can.
And I love that you added that in because, this is a real source of pain for women and couples, because it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do everything like 100%? And then they obsess, and then they freak out if, something is not organic. And to me, if that freak out is probably going to cause more harm than good. So sometimes a little bit of is okay, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, never underestimate the effect stress has on your body. So it's, it's doing what you can with what you have. And I try to give as many different tips so that people can say, oh, I like that one. That one won't work for me, but I'll try this one, so that you can kind of pick and choose what's going to work. Because if it's not going to be sustainable for you in your lifestyle, you're not going to keep doing it, and doing nothing is not my goal. I would like to help you do something. And so that's why I'm giving so many different options. But I just want you to know that it's not 100, it's not all or nothing.
Right. That's really great. And where connection is not really good right now. So hopefully people will still get the gist of everything. So one last thing, and well, actually, no, there might be two things. Cleaning products for the kitchen.
Yes.
Any advice?
So cleaning products, I guess, in general, but people tend to use a lot of different cleaning products in the kitchen, especially antibacterial type products or scented products. I know when looking for even garbage bags for the kitchen, it can be hard to find ones that are unscented, which kind of blows my mind. But a lot of them, like if you're buying those kitchen catcher type things, a lot of them are treated with Febreze or with antibacterial treatments. So I want you to keep it simple in your kitchen and avoid that kind of additional fragrance and antibacterial. So fragrance ingredients in cleaning products and in like your garbage bags and stuff can contain phthalates. And so generally trying to reduce synthetic fragrance as much as possible. And cleaning products, again, most people don't need a fully sanitized with antibacterial everything in their kitchen. Soap and water will do just fine. And if you're using more natural cleaners, then you want to be making sure that you're choosing them properly, because cleaning products don't have to disclose ingredients on the label. So the first thing is to try to avoid anything that has those antibacterial claims. Step number one. And step number two is focusing on brands that aren't greenwashing. So looking at turning the label around, seeing if they do list ingredients. It's totally voluntary, but some of them will. But otherwise, if it just says natural or even organic on the front, it might mean something, it might not mean something.
So sorry. So the antimicrobial, antibacterial, so they contain more phthalates? Is that what you're saying?
No, different ingredients. So the fragranced products often contain phthalates. Right. The antimicrobial can contain triclosan, which is potentially a hormone disruptor. It has some other issues with it. But all of these antibacterial substances can affect us in terms of more susceptibility to superbugs. It's been shown to have a couple different impacts in the body, might be contributing to allergies down the line as well, because they kill everything. And having a microbiome in the kitchen or in our homes is actually a good thing for our health as well as the developing fetus.
Well, and that is amazing that you're saying this, because everybody will gravitate towards antimicrobial products, thinking that, oh, this is a good thing. We want to eliminate these extra germs. But meanwhile, you're right. We absolutely want the microbiome. Like, we want to be able to withstand everything, right? And learn to deal with it in our environment. So that's a really great tip. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so you can use EWG also as a guide to healthy cleaners. If you're in the States, it will have more brands that you have access to. If you're in Canada, it doesn't have a lot of our really awesome Canadian brands. I have a download that lists cleaners that are commonly thought of as green, and it tells you whether they're greenwashed or actually green. That's a download on my website. But Nature Clean is a great Canadian brand, and EcoMax I quite like as well.
Okay, great.
And you can also make your own.
Yeah, the DIY make your own cleaner. Yeah, absolutely. But who has time for that?
Yeah,
I know. Any last thing about what to do, like about the cleaners, how we like in the kitchen itself, like what are the bare bones, your top 3 things?
Yeah, so I would say look at what you're using in your kitchen now. Like if you have a pantry full of cans, then maybe that's something that you want to start focusing on. If you aren't filtering your water, maybe that's something that you want to start focusing on. So I would say pick kind of one tip from this chat that resonated with you and that you feel like you can implement in your home and start there. I don't want you to go out and start doing all of the things all at once, because that'll just be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So look at what's in your kitchen right now and where you can make positive change and start there. Very good.
These are very wise tips. I really want to thank you for being with us today. I honor you, and in future we can get. I don't think we can ever get enough tips about green at home. So if you're interested, wait, you have a program coming up. Tell us about this.
Oh yes, I do.
A challenge, right? Tell me.
Yeah, I've got a free 5-day home detox challenge. It starts on June 17th. Sign up by June 15th, and you'll be getting daily emails and also live video support from me each of the 5 days in my Facebook group. It's a lot of fun. You'll get practical tips, much like we went over here, but for every room of your home. Awesome. And you can sign up at greenathome.ca/detox challenge, or just head to my website. There's a button there.
Okay, love it. Thank you so much for being here. And
thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. We'll do it again. And so next time, don't know what's on, but I know. We're going to actually talk about detox in your body next week. So it's quite timely that we're doing this.
Amazing.
So, yeah. So join us next week. It'll be back to the Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you haven't already done so, pick up my book, Pathways to Pregnancy. And I do discuss all of what we talk here, but we're doing it much more in depth here and more very specific practical tips here. So check it out. And also for those of you who have been part of my new live monthly fertility circle, thank you. It's been so awesome. I've been getting great response, and it's like coaching in the comfort of your own home with others. And it's only 2 hours once a month, and it's transformational. That's what I've been hearing, and that's my goal for you. So please join that, and you can check it out at marywong.life. And we'll look forward to seeing you next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, thanks. Have a good night. Oh, good day. I've never done it in the day. Have a great weekend. It's a Friday. Thanks, Emma. Take care. We'll see you.